Pamela Moore. She is President and CEO of the Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation, and David Baker Lewis, who is Chair of the Detroit Workforce Development Board, our guest today on Spotlight. Pamela, let me make sure that the audience is real clear. The funding comes from the state and from the federal government, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and that has not changed even with the change in status from moving from a city department to a nonprofit corporation, correct?
That's correct. So our funding streams come from various federal agencies. A bulk of the funding comes from the U.S. Department of Labor. And so the federal funds flow through the state down to the Michigan Works agencies. There are 25 of us across the state of Michigan, and so that has not changed. What has changed is that the mayor has the power through this Workforce Investment Act legislation to appoint the administrative and fiscal agent over these workforce programs and services. So prior to July 1, that administrative and fiscal agent was the Department of Workforce Development. Post July 1, it is Detroit Employment Solutions. So as the fiscal and administrative agent, those funds come directly to the nonprofit now.
If there's been opposition, it has come from City Council, concerned that you have now replaced a city department with a nonprofit organization, but yet the funding is still the same as it was before. Unions don't like it. They believe that this is a way of displacing city workers for private contractors. True?
Well, there was some pushback. We had a very short time frame to make this change. We had these conversations early 2012. The decision was made around March in conversations with the mayor and his team, and they decided that the best timing for this would be July 1 because that's the start of the city's fiscal calendar. And so we had a very short period of time to make this transition. So the transition was made July 1. However, there were a lot of loose ties, if you will. And so the mayor is required to submit to City Council an executive organizational plan with any changes to departments. So when that was proposed to council, they felt like they did not have all the information that they needed. So they did some investigating on their own. They had the Auditor General come in, look at how the transition was done. They looked at the numbers, looked at the Workforce Investment Act legislation to make sure that this was all done appropriately. That investigation was completed at the end of December. And so they have not yet approved the mayor's executive organizational plan, but I believe they are ready to approve it now that they have their findings back, and those findings said that things were done appropriately.
David, you're an attorney, a prominent attorney. Are you out of the woods legally on this yet? And was this done in the best way from a legal standpoint, or would there have been a better way to have done this?
Well, Chuck, we have engaged outside counsel. We believe that we are on absolutely solid ground. The mayor gave us a mandate as the city was going through its financial emergency to convert what was a city department into a nonprofit agency in 90 days. And we were able to accomplish that. The mayor is the enforcement power under the Workforce Investment Act. We really didn't have any choice, but it was a good change to make because workforce development, just like anything else, over time the delivery mechanisms change and they need to be enhanced and improved. So there's not a lot of money that the city of Detroit, if any, put into workforce development as such. This money came from non-city sources, so there really was no major impact in that regard. The funding sources stayed the same. There might even be more justification for a change if there had been city sources of funds. But we have dotted all of our I's and crossed all of our T's. We believe we're on solid ground. We have the support of the state and the city of Detroit through the mayor's office. And although there are some challenges that relate to the relationship between the mayor and the council and other entities that have an interest.
In terms of jurisdiction and,
Yeah, and so forth.
Did they have enough weigh in on
Right.
this?
Our focus is on improving and enhancing delivery of workforce development services to the citizens of the city of Detroit, and we are absolutely convinced that this change is a positive and good change for those constituents.
All right, and that's what we're going to talk about when we come back from this commercial break, is for that person looking for a job, why is this new structure better for them? Why is it better for the city? Why is it better for the state? And we'll explore all that when we come right back.